everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to today's video. If you cannot tell from the clues on the screen, we're talking about meal planning today. We are talking about success in meal planning, and let me just tell you, there is definitely success in meal planning. So stay tuned for that. Of course, thank you for joining me on today's video. If you are new, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss this and all the fun yet to come. And for those of you returning, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so grateful that you continue to watch. You are definitely the reason why I do this. So thank you so much. But let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's talk a little bit. I'm not gonna linger on this, but let's just talk a little bit about my cycle of food. I want to eat healthy. I want to eat really good things like that taste delicious because I love food and I love to eat food. And I really love dinner specifically, so you can kind of eliminate breakfast and lunch. Like I don't really care if I have just a snacky foods, if I eat protein bars or shakes, but dinner is like my world, and I love eating out. And I love food. But here's the reality. Eating out is expensive, and especially the way we eat out. I don't know, my family just eats a lot of food or something because we always spend like $50 when we eat out. If we eat out at a restaurant, like even at Chick-fil-A, we spend like $40. I don't even know what we do. But we love food and we love to eat out. And I really feel like there's success when you properly meal plan to avoid both of those in a way that you don't avoid them, you reward yourself with them, and not struggle with the, what do you want to eat tonight? I don't know. What do you want to eat? And then you go get fast food and you know the cycle. You know the cycle. So I want to show you an easy way that I have found to kind of generalize your meal plan and figure out how it is and what it is that you need to go shopping or do to make that success happen. First of all, if you are a one spouse family, or maybe not one spouse. If you are a family that you cook all the meals, sorry, you're on your own. If you're a family where you have someone else helping cook the meals with you, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, mom, whatever, then what I would start with is a very simple note somewhere on the day of the week of who's going to cook. You can put it with an initial, or you can put lines to identify however you want to do it. But let's say this was Megan was Monday and then Colin was Tuesday. We would just kind of alternate, or however we're going to do it. If there's an eat out day, we'll make a note on that more under the day of the week. But make a note, first of all, of who's going to cook what day, and then it'll help prioritize those meals. Secondly, go through and figure out what you're going to make for dinner each week. You can date it if you want to. I don't normally date it. I also, a lot of times I don't stick with the Monday through Sunday days. Like I might put Monday that we're going to make pizza, and I might decide to make that Wednesday and put one Wednesday's meals to make it Monday. As long as you don't have food that's like about ready to expire, then you should be good with that. But so for the sake of today, we're just going to start writing things down. I'm using a Sharpie. You can get these off. There's videos that will tell you how to get the Sharpie off if you use a Sharpie permanent marker on these. And obviously I am using one of the Happy Planner wet erase boards. I think you can find these still at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I think I got it at Michael's pretty recently, actually. So you can still get them, but you can use something different. You can use a piece of paper. I think these are a lot easier because, and I'll tell you why. Once I'm done with my plan, I actually pull this out and this becomes my list in the grocery store. I don't bring the whole planner in with me. I just grab this and it really helps guide me. You can put it in your purse, whatever, but it's thicker than a piece of paper and it's easier to write on when you're checking stuff off than like having to put the paper in your hand and be like, and hoping the pen works. So we're just going to kind of write down a few different options that dinner might, we might have for dinner, that I plan to make for dinner, or we plan to make for dinner. And, so I'm just gonna write down a few options. I'll probably go over the full list in a little while, but just to give you an idea on how I'm going to start. So We a lot of times do not have, we'll make a big thing and maybe we'll pull aside or we'll pull something extra. I personally, because I'm not as super detailed with it, don't put like every last thing that we're going to eat on any given day. I make sure we have other foods in case we want to audible it or in case something happens or we're both exhausted, whatever. However, I do have all the ingredients to make certain foods at any given time based on what my meal plan for. So we know all of these things are great. Make sure that's not rubbing off still. Nope, should be good. Okay. We know that all these foods are great and we're ready to enjoy them. So now, and you know, just for the sake of pretending, just pretend that all the days are filled out. Normally I will put in a day that we're going to eat out or two, depending on what we can afford or what I decide we want to do. And then, you know, like I said, we'll just fill in the rest of the week with what dinner options we might really want to use. From there, looking at those options, I'm going to go ahead and start putting in the things that I know we might need. So obviously we're going to need chicken breasts, marinara sauce, and I normally abbreviate a lot of times because I can't fit it all in there. I'm a big writer. You know, maybe we need cheese. And you can specify cheese. And I just start filling it in using the fact that I know what I'm already going to make as my guide. So as you're going through the things you're going to make, I start with the meal. I start with the bulk of it and then work backwards to figure out what I need to buy to ensure that I have the proper ingredients for the food that is here. I take that information, and then once I'm done adding all the dinner items up and putting the dinner items on the docket, then I will go through the rest of the things that I might need for lunches or snacks or whatever. If you have kids, you know that they require a lot of snack food. And so I might write oranges, apples. Obviously, those are not for dinner, but we know we're going to need those. Strawberries. And raspberries, and dairy. We know we're going to need some yogurt for them. Oops, I can spell yogurt. Don't worry, guys. And, you know, so on and so forth as you start to compile that list. So step number 1, start with your dinners. Step number 2, take all the dinners that you're going to need. Maybe you already have flour to make chicken parmesan with and you don't need to buy that. So you realize that you don't need to buy that, but you know that you need marinara sauce unless you make your own. And then if you make your own, you know you're going to need tomatoes and, you know, however it might work. Just start backwards and put it on a list from there. Once you have this list completed, all of your meals of the week, and if you're going to eat out, great, just put in that you're going to eat out. Or if you don't know that you might eat out one day, put a meal in there that if you don't make it, you don't necessarily, those ingredients aren't going to go to waste. You know, maybe you pre-make it and then you freeze it like a fajita meal or something that's a little bit less complicated to make in case you need to redo it. That's always a great way to save yourself some time as well. But that is something that if you really look at it, it's easy to do. Then go in there and fill out all of those little things that you're going to need to add to it and extra to make sure that, you know, you set yourself up for success for the next week ahead. Now, if you don't like having this big bulky thing in your planner, especially after you've gone shopping and you have a general idea, there's a couple different things. One is you can stick this, you know, you can stick this somewhere in your kitchen where you're going to look at it and refer to it, or you can stick this, you know, out of your planner. I put mine away. I put mine in a different planner and I don't really look at it again. What I do is I then take little cards. You'll find that these, like the daily goals one, I pulled out of this. I love these little cards. I pulled it out of this. They have a meal planning one that I pulled the grocery list card out of. And yeah, so I pulled it from there. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to kind of copy that information down very briefly in 1 to 2 words if I can, trying to keep the information as brief as possible, more as a quick reference. Not that I went detail on here. Sometimes I do, like I might put the chicken parmesan and instead of noodles, it might just be with cauliflower, whatever. But I will get a little more detailed sometimes on here with specifics. I don't normally try to get hard, like specifically hard with sides or anything like that, but I do try to put a little bit more information. But then that information just gets transferred onto this daily goals or whatever you want to use. And then, you could scratch it out or you could put another sticker that just says menu plan. Obviously, you know what you did with it. So you can decorate it up however you want to do it. But it's a really easy way to keep track of things. And if you just want to keep track of dinners, this is great. But you can also grab another card out, the same one. Normally, when you buy these little packs, there's a lot of duplicates in there. So you can grab a couple of the duplicates out and perhaps you can write what you're going to have for your lunches if you're going to personally, make lunches or however however it works for you. If you are meal planning of like 3 meals a day, then you obviously might need to utilize this into a 3-category system. I do not, so that's not for me, but you might want to do that. But once you have this information on here, you can do a couple things. One is you normally can use the back. It's kind of just open and generic. So I tend to use this for other little notes about food that I might need to make. Again, if you know that your spouse is going to make this, put an initial next to who's going to cook what, and that way you kind of have a general idea of like what is going to necessarily be, who's going to be the responsible party that evening. Then from there, and I also think it's helpful to make like notes if you want certain beverages, if you like beers or wines, or maybe you just like sodas or whatever. If you don't have that heavily stocked in your house, you like to pick those up as you drink them, and maybe that you want a wine with chicken parmesan or whatever, then you would just make a note on, I use this kind of on the notes on the back for things like that. Then I take this grocery list note, and this is for things that like I know we're running out of or we ran out of that we might need some more of before I'm going to start my meal plan for next week. So throughout the week, as we notice, like maybe we're out of cream. And obviously, if you know me, I love coffee. Cream is a life-altering piece of ingredient in our home. Maybe you need coffee. And so you kind of go down the list and you're adding those things to them as far as like, okay, let's plan out what we're going to need for the rest of the week. So when we go shopping, barring you shouldn't run out of things, really, really, really rarely should you run out of things if you're properly meal planning. But if you do, or you're running low on them, this is the best place to start compiling that list. Unless you need something on this list throughout the week that you're going to need and you absolutely cannot live without, such as cream, such as coffee, I would not hesitate to go to the store for those. Try to wait to go shopping for those ingredients until you go shopping for your next round. Then you can do a couple things from there. One is you can, I also got these at Costco, and I've had Sharpies before, but I actually really like writing with them, just as an FYI. I don't write with them on my planner because sometimes they do bleed through, like these are kind of bleeding through, but I like to write with them when I have something that won't bleed through, just as a general idea. But if you want these, if you like these independent or universal and you don't care that they're independent, universal, then I normally just take them and stack them, pop them into my planner for the week that I'm in at the very lowest section of my planner. I'll just open, whoop. Obviously this is not the accurate time, but the very lowest point in my planner, and keep it accessible so I can see it during the week that I'm in. But I also think there's an opportunity to really just, if you want to just kind of cut this down or fold it over and then take a little sticker and sticker this together either on the top and the bottom or on the sides, or you can use glue dots. And then you have one page if you want to flip it over and have it as one specific piece of paper instead of multiples. I don't normally fool with that, but I know a lot of people that want it together. So then as the week comes to a close and you start the cycle over again, you would just pull this throw this in the trash and pull this grocery list out and kind of work with that as you are completing this for the following week. So it works together in conjunction with each other, but they don't actually aren't used all at once. I try to keep something this bulky. I would not enjoy having this in my planner throughout the week. This would cover the majority of my planning. I wouldn't like that at all. So some people could keep this in the front or the back of their planner, and that works great too. For me, I like to use it and I really find it beneficial, but then after I'm done with it, I want it out of my planner for that period of time. Something small, concise, ready to go, easy for me to look at is a better way to do it. And it just makes it more efficient. I think you can save money this way. I feel like you can stick to your goals this way. And even if you don't prep a lot of your food ahead of time, like I don't really prep a lot of our food ahead of time, or my husband doesn't really prep a lot of our food ahead of time. Even if you just actually like sit down and look at what you're gonna make for the week, it really takes a lot of the, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? We do that a lot too, still, don't get me wrong. And if we don't plan, we are guaranteed to do it. If we do not plan our meals, we are guaranteed to play the what do you want game until we're blue in the face, and then we go to Chick-fil-A and we spend $40. And it's not to say we wouldn't still do that when I'm like, oh, I don't want to cook. Let's go to Chick-fil-A. And that's okay. You can call audibles. But as long as you have a general plan, this will save your life so much. I know you want to. You got this. You got this, folks. I believe in you. So please, if you would, share your tips and tricks of success for meal planning for me to those around us. I want to be better at it. I want everyone to be better at it that wants to be better at it, because I think it's a super great skill if you can do it. I would love to know what your tips and tricks are, or what things you feel like. It's also a great time as you're going through this list to add coupons if you're a couponer. Not something I've mastered yet, but this is a great time to do it. And I would love to know success tips that you have for me. So please share them in the comments. And thank you all for tuning in today. I love you all and cannot wait to see you on the next video. And for those of you who are going wild, leave me a comment. I'll be there. And I can't wait to see you and give you hugs. I'm a hugger. Just full disclosure. All right, everyone. See you next time. Have a great one.